You've just entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. If you've come for actual legal advice, you need to turn right around, honey. You need to get out of here, 'cause you ain't gonna get none of that. They quibble, and they squabble, and they bicker. But if you want to hear meaningless opinions, this is the right place. They got plenty of that. Stuff that makes no sense at all. They go off on tangents. It's crazy talk. If that's your thing, keep listening. They'll keep talking.
Oh no no, oh no no, it's another episode of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. You've entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker.
Welcome back to the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. It is December 30th, 2020. Donald Trump still has not conceded that he's lost the election. And this is our year-end wrap-up, considering this is the first year we've been doing this. Our client is Ghosts of Episodes Past. So I'll essentially be talking about what's happened over the last year and the various different episodes. And we're not going to go over every single thing, but we'll just go over, whatever we happen to feel like talking about. So maybe this is a good time to just tell people how we came about, because I don't think we've ever actually told that story on the show. Our very first show, which was what the hell was our first show, Greg?
Ethnic foods.
Favorite ethnic foods, was essentially us just going straight into the whole client concept and just talking about whatever I guess we could think of to talk about at the time.
Well, that's your story, Matt. This was all your idea. So,
well, okay. So the way this all started is that Greg and I would have these conversations by phone, and he would say things that I thought were really funny, and I felt sad that we would never hear them again, because sometimes there'd be these gems that would pop up, and it takes a lot to sift through them to get to the gems. So I thought it was sad that they would be lost to humanity, and there needed to be a way to record it. And I originally thought about us doing like a YouTube show where we're just, I don't know, doing whatever. But because of COVID, that really couldn't work out where we could be in the same room doing it. So I then came across Anchor as a podcasting platform where you could do a podcast in like 5 minutes all over your phone. I went, well, that's simple for Luddites and what have you. And for me, podcasts were this incomprehensible thing that I didn't know if I wanted to get involved with. And that's kind of how it started. And then we did our first episode, which is favorite ethnic foods. And why did we come up with the title of the show? So because people had heard us having conversations before, heard us bicker with each other. And I thought, oh, bicker's kind of a funny word. I'm like, how could we incorporate that? And I thought of quibbling and squabbling, and just for alliteration.
You thought of yourself, the master quibbler.
I didn't think of myself as a master quibbler at the time. I take that role now, having listened to myself on these numerous different shows and going, okay, they're right. I'm a nitpicking motherfucker. So, but I thought law offices was a good counterpoint to the concept of quibbling and squabbling, and thought maybe people would laugh if they saw the title. And the fact is that I guess I'm right, because I'll tell people the name of the podcast and they'll laugh just from hearing the name of the podcast.
Well, especially when they know us. They're like, oh,
I'm talking about people who don't know anything about us.
No, I know, but people I know who know us, they think it's doubly funny.
Oh,
it's like, yep, that's you guys in a nutshell.
Yeah, but I'm talking about people that I've never met before.
Yeah, I've had that too.
Yeah, so where it's like that immediately gets us the laugh from it, and I'm like, okay, good. So that was one good thing I've done. One good thing I've done is creating that. Although I was just talking to somebody yesterday where I thought it could be a division of Trainwreck Radio, because it's kind of a similar thing to what we do. But that's for another day and another time. Anyway, so why don't we just start off and see if you guys have any particular favorite episodes you want to talk about, and then I'll just start like reviewing them one by one. Maybe read the synopsis and we can go from there. Do you guys have like a favorite show that you did? We started this back in June. Oh, and we should talk about how Brendan came along. So Brendan came along in the third episode when Greg and I were thinking that we needed something different to occur.
We needed a squabbler. We can have a squabbler.
I don't know. We did that pretty good.
Oh, and
But
he brought the squabble, man.
I just was thinking of the people that I knew who would be somebody who could hold their own in a
I just
conversation.
I
So,
just want to point out, Matt, that on various episodes, the number of people that you know and are friendly with are countable on one hand.
well, on three fingers, I think. So
So
that made it
yeah.
easier.
yeah, no, I was
And one of
I
them
was
is your dog.
I wasn't like the Heisman Trophy winner that went first draft. I was just that guy that you still knew and could call.
Oh God, how true that is! But I think it's because I've deliberately alienated everybody through the course of my life, and that's why I knew you would fit in perfectly with that. So,
Well, that's
so,
because I've alienated everybody out of my life as well. So
so this maybe that's an additional title to the show,
yes,
the Alienators.
The
So,
friends of the friendless.
the friendless friends. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Anyway, so did you guys have a particular favorite episode? Now that we've given Brendan his very terse introduction.
I went through them all. There was so many that I liked for so many different reasons. I can't think of a favorite. I thought one of the funnier ones was our Idiocracy is now one.
That is one of the more popular ones too.
I
That was
thought
one of
that
my
one
More
was
favorites as well.
plays than just nearly all the other ones, except the first episode and one other, I think.
yeah, I thought that one was fun and it was timely and we played off the movie and I think we had a lot of fun. So if I had to pick, I think that was one of our better episodes.
That should make
They're
Greg
all-
very happy.
They're all fantastic.
I brought
but,
that client in, by the way. Don't
That's right.
forget.
That's true. That's right. I forgot
Greg
about
was
A lot
the
of
rainmaker
legwork
on
went
that
into
one.
that.
That's right. He scoured the airwaves for that particular one. All right, well then I'll just get started. So our very first client, this is how it all began. His favorite ethnic foods, and the synopsis for this is it winds up paying a retainer. The client does for very strange non-legal advice, which includes the tuna wars, the sounds giraffes make, and the difference between Rocky and Smoky Mountain oysters. So that was that was a good one for Greg because he had never heard of the tuna wars before. So we were able to
That was enlightening.
give him an arena that he hadn't been familiar with.
And I love history, so it was right at my alley, like uncharted corners of history.
Right.
was
The
very
only reason I knew it is because my family was affected by it, and that's how it came into pass.
I did think that first episode laid a foundation, if you will, of that the concept was sound. No matter how boring a topic you pick or client, we can
We can
just quibble and
ignore it.
squabble, and exactly. And that's why it doesn't really matter what client we pick every week. We're still going to ramble about random stupid shit.
One thing I
So-
learned from doing what was the God? I can't the Life show that we did with this fellow
with Don Smith.
Smith in Ohio.
Yes.
That it's good
Woo,
for
to
us
all our Ohio people.
it's good for us to have a
Woo.
client because we will go in so many different directions, and we need something to kind of keep us slightly focused to bring us back to. And I think it also helps people to relate a little bit more as opposed to just letting our minds go forth. The fact is that having what did I listen to recently? The Habits of Infernal Origin episode, where we were all talking about our fondness for acid, and I realized that this is probably why this podcast is the way it is because we've all done acid and it's
Damage
affected
brain
us
cells.
all in some way that has
Hey now.
created these interesting permutations of thought patterns and processes to where it has gone. So
Thank you, Timothy Leary.
I think it begs. I beg to differ. I think it points to the deeper, connected understanding that we all share.
for the universe,
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are boxed into this linear, go to work, come home, work out, have babies, eat kale, whatever, and we just don't live that way. We live by our own rules.
Whatever,
I don't know.
wavy gravy. Go take a shower, you hippie.
I have
Yeah.
learned that Greg likes to bring up wavy gravy whenever any talk of
It's a
acid
funny
comes
name.
in.
I just like saying it.
Do you talk about the
Wavy
ice cream from Ben and Jerry's too sometimes?
I haven't tried it, so I can't really talk about it because that would be disingenuous.
Disingenuous?
I've never eaten it.
You mean disingenuous?
Disingenuous.
That's a different word. I'm not familiar with that word.
Well, because
That
I'm a
means
genius.
you're not
so when
a
I'm
genius. You're a
disingenuous-
disingenious.
Or maybe it's double. Maybe you're a double genius by being a disingenious.
No, actually, I'm
A
an
disingenious.
ungenius.
Oh,
I should have
good
said
point.
I'm an ungenius because I'm
But
the
I-
opposite of
but
a
I
genius.
think you mean disingenuous as opposed to disingenuous.
I guess I always pronounced that wrong, huh?
Well,
Disingenuous.
it's spelled differently the way you're pronouncing it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay,
I've
Quibble.
never had wavy gravy
it.
ice cream either.
I'm quibbling. Anyway, so I think what I'll do
I'm
is
not a grateful.
you're not grateful. You're not grateful.
I'm not a Grateful Dead fan either.
You know, the weird thing is of the minimal amount of live concert shows I've been to 2 Grateful Dead shows, and I'm not even really that big of a Grateful Dead fan. I just went because other people wanted me to go. And the second one I went to, I fell asleep in, and we were like 14 rows back too.
Yeah, I would have fallen asleep too if I was at a Grateful Dead show.
Well, I was just so stoned when I got there, and I
Yeah.
guess I hadn't had much sleep the night before, and I literally slept through almost the entire show. But the
Hey,
first time
I
I went, I really, really enjoyed it. But I was also on like 5 different substances when I was there too. So
I
wanted
think
to
that's
add
part of
because
the.
I didn't get to say what my favorite episode was, but now that I think about it, it was the rock lyrics one. That was my favorite.
was that the song lyrics on trial? That's
Yeah,
'cause
song
Brendan,
lyrics on trial.
when Brendan first came on.
Yeah, when Enter the Dragon, when Brendan came on.
Enter the Skunk Man.
Yeah, now we're like forever labeled as Laser, Skunkman, and Crunchy.
No, we don't. We don't have to live with those labels.
We don't.
I don't know how far. I don't know how far Don's reach is, but maybe every time
Yeah.
we're in Ohio, I don't know. This next interview we do, he may bring up the Skunk Man thing. There may be some Don Rhino connection.
I don't think there's not a connection with him. There's a connection with the publicist who put us together. So that's where the connection comes from. The weird thing is about the guy who's interviewing us today, the Albino Rhino for podcast, for those of you who are listening, if you're interested. He and I are on a similar comedy podcast Facebook group that only has like 10 people in it. And he and I are the only ones that ever post anything in that particular Facebook group. And he wasn't even aware of me, which cracked me up as well.
Is Bill Cosby on it?
No, Greg. No, he's not.
I thought
But I
it
do
could
like
be
the
for
name
me.
of that Facebook group. It's called Potty Mouths. It's basically meant for, PODDY for potty.
No,
Oh,
that's
that's
clever.
rich.
Very
Yeah,
clever.
It
Potty mouth.
was clever, and I was surprised that more people haven't joined it. But it's not really administrated that well. So anyway, there's just the two of us on there, and I went like, oh, so this guy's connected to this publicist who's been going to be getting us these guests for the new year, and the new year is going to be a whole different ball of wax for us. We're going to be doing guests in probably nearly every episode. I'm already booked through the middle of February with guests, and a couple of people.
You personally?
Us personally, us, the three of us.
That was just a little quibble.
I can take it.
All right.
So
Fair enough.
So for all of us, yes, and a couple of those are interviews where they're going to be interviewing us too. So it'll be like a flipping of the script.
Oh, okay.
Can we interview Hector Camacho?
If you can find him, you're talking about the fictional character that doesn't really exist.
Well,
Or
we
are you
could
talking
interview
the
actor.
NFL running back?
Yeah, and ask him to stay in
Current-
character as Hector Camacho the whole podcast.
You're talking about the actor who played him then.
But he could play Hector Camacho for us and answer his questions in character.
You could do that, Greg. You could actually
On
play
my
that character.
podcast?
I think that it would be entertaining if you started acting like the guy who's the president in Idiocracy.
Oh yeah, like me doing.
I honestly
work.
I honestly think we'd have a better chance of getting Hulk Hogan.
That's possible.
be-
He's in your neck of the woods. You should go grab him off the beach.
He's local, and God knows he needs whatever promotion he can get. I'm not kidding. If we get our numbers up a little bit, I bet you I could get Hulk Hogan.
I think if we had Hulk Hogan, we wouldn't have to do any talking. It'd be like, "Hey, brother, let me just tell you about my entire career. Let me tell you about my daughter and everybody else. Come on, brother." Or am I doing Macho Man? I don't know who the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No,
somebody
that was pretty
says
close.
brother. Some of those
That's
guys say brother. I'm not really certain anymore.
No, that's Hulk Hogan's signature.
I haven't really followed professional wrestling in a few decades. It used to be very
That's
entertaining.
because you don't live in. Yeah, you don't live in Florida.
Well, actually, when I was in Maryland, when I went to school, one of the guys in my he was like an assistant to one of the professors. He actually worked on the set of World Wrestling Federation as like a cameraman, and he did editing for them. So he would
Wow.
like show us like some of the footage of it. And but they did a lot of stuff in the Baltimore area at that time. But yeah, after I kind of left that area, I just became unfamiliar with it. But I've always kind of found professional wrestling entertaining. We should probably do that as an episode one of these days. Anyway, so let me get into our different episodes. So I just mentioned what I'll do is I'll just read the synopses. You guys stop me if you want to expound on any more, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So for episode our second client, which is Most Useful Invention, this was in June 26th, 2020. So we're hitting the 6-month mark of the age of the show. The law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker meet their second client, Most Useful Inventions. This client brings a host of issues, including the advent of pinball, the plow, Henry Ford, Matt's character flaws, how to get Greg a pizza with a podcast, and an inability to quit yammering to meet time constraints. Part 2 includes Hitler's Brain, the Crusades, and Do Planets Have Rocks? So that was episode 2, part 1 of episode of our second client. And then most of you, whoops, I just clicked on the wrong thing, which can happen a lot. So the second episode, or second part of that, I basically said the same thing in the synopsis. So we'll just ignore that and move on to our third client, which happened in July 2nd. And
I have a question because
yes.
that was before me. Was episode the second client, episode 2-3, was that where we brought up? Was that where you guys talked about the steamroller and the snake versus the bus?
I think the first one.
That might have been the very first episode.
The second one was Adam and Eve or space aliens.
Okay. I just know that the Cobra versus school bus has come up in later episodes, and I wasn't sure of the,
it's an unending debate. That's why nobody can prove it.
No, I get it. I was just wondering if it was episode 1 or episode 2. I just didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that particular topic would be as prevalent as time went on as it has become. Otherwise, I would have put that into the synopsis at the beginning. But I was still getting my feet wet in terms of how to sum up the particular episodes, and so I've got a little bit of a rhythm of it currently. But we still are trying to make some headway along the way. So.
Yeah, I mean, Paul McCartney never knew "Hey Jude" was going to be a hit. I mean, he just wrote the song, so don't even worry about
that's
it.
That's right. Although, if you watched that movie yesterday, I do like how they changed the title of it to "Hey Dude."
It's funny. I just watched that movie with the family.
Yeah.
Not yesterday, but a couple of days ago.
Isn't the show called Yesterday?
It is called Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
It's called Yesterday. It's a good show. I really liked it. But I got to say, at a certain point, all of us at the Haggard house really hated the girlfriend or the would-be girlfriend.
Yeah.
Why did you wind up hating her?
Because I found her manipulative. Like suddenly, all this time went by and she never expressed that she cared about him, and she was waiting for him to do it, and he was obviously awkward and didn't do it. And then she kind of gave him a bunch of shit in the end after he became famous. I don't know. I just found her,
I think that's a perfectly valid point. You're right.
I just found her annoying. That was the only distraction from the movie. I loved the guy. Obviously, the music is fantastic. The whole movie was great. I thought his doofus friend was a great addition. kind of like loser guy he just brought along because he didn't have a job and all that. It's just a girlfriend, and I knew that ultimately it was going to end up that they were going to get back, they were going to get together, and anyway.
Okay, so Greg, you have to watch it.
I have seen it.
Oh, you have seen it. Okay.
I like it a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
then we'll move on.
Moving on.
Moving
So
on
the third
to
episode.
the third
answers
episode
the question.
where Brendan comes into play, or as Greg likes to refer to you as Fonzie to the show, Brendan. So the
These
week's
are Fonzie.
episode takes the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker to court for its first litigation. Song lyrics on trial in order to properly tackle our clients' needs. We've opened up a satellite office in Florida and have a new host, Brendan, who pulls no punches. You will experience mountains in the sky that stand there, how Stonehenge opened the demonic door to rock and roll, unnatural acts with dogs, and why Greg needs a filter. So that is...
I don't need shit.
that is our third client.
You need to toughen up.
I have to
I gotta
say,
I was listening to this episode again I totally forgot about Matt's tangent about Stonehenge, rock around the clock. And I gotta say, I was laughing out loud. I was like, I can't believe he keeps pushing this theory all the way through every lyric. I thought it would be one verse and make this connection. Then he keeps going and making all these tangential, if you will.
Tangential.
That's another callback.
That's disingenuous to me.
These disingenuous tangential links between rock around the clock and satanic worship.
I have been outside naked in the sun, and I have tangenitals.
There you go. That's what I was talking about.
Greg witnessed you do that.
No, obviously. I was going to say, obviously, that episode I remember probably more vividly than any of the other episodes. It's like your first acid trip. You remember it more than the others, and so that one stands out. I remember.
What was your audition?
That was my audition. I was, trying to do my best. And
I just felt bad for tossing you to the middle of our insanity, and I'm like, all right, well, can Brendan enjoy this or not? I don't know.
I'm still here.
I know, and I'm shocked. I'm glad you are.
Yeah.
I'm very happy about that. All right, should I continue? You guys going to keep talking about that one more? Or?
Yeah, let's go. I think that's a good episode. If you haven't heard that one, if you're just listening to this for the first time,
yeah.
I think that's a real special one.
That's right. Client
Very
number 3,
episode.
song lyric. Yeah, it was our first litigation too. So song lyrics on trial. All right. So client number 4 was Idiocracy is Now. The fake lawyers return to experience their fourth client. Many things that are important get discussed. I forgot about things are important. The origin of the moron, Matt's mini stroke, the Flat Earth Society on a boat, upside down globalism, and pecan shell cracker sandwiches. Traverse carefully. So, all right. So that was the time when I wound up in the hospital.
That's right.
And freaked everybody out because of the fact that they got to learn the inner working. Greg, if you wanted to say something, it's best to unmute yourself for people to hear you, because
I don't remember pecan shell cracker sandwiches.
Yeah, when Matt complained,
you'll have to listen
company.
to the episode again.
Matt found a pecan and almost broke his tooth on something, so he complained, and they sent him more of the same product.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yes.
So he could
now
break
I
more of
remember.
his teeth.
That's right.
Yeah,
I do remember that now. Okay,
that it's
Good.
worthwhile to send letters to companies because they'll send you free stuff.
Of things you don't want.
Right.
Shit that you hate.
Right.
That's awesome.
Enough to complain about them.
I do like the fact that caused me to do research into the term moron and cretin and imbecile, and to find out that the word moron actually comes from a town in New Jersey. That was a fascinating thing for me to find out. What was that?
It was enlightening.
It was.
Yeah.
We were enlightened.
This show is educational and entertaining at once.
It was, to some extent. Maybe. I don't know. We don't have anybody who actually engages with us and lets us know jack about the program. So
it's edifying.
At the very least, we learned something. All right, our fifth client, sex sells always. So the synopsis goes, sex sells, sex sells, sex sells, sex sells. I don't know why I said that. So they say, our intrepid faux lawyers tackle the simplest of clients and find their way into other topics they probably should have avoided. The conversation shifts to attraction towards dead chickens, the Underground Railroad, one particular use for a sock, The Handmaid's Tale, flying nipples, human fluids, and fear.
We got very tangential on that episode, I gotta
I
say.
think that you were experiencing the tangentials far too closely, Greg.
Yeah, this is one of the episodes I was reviewing where I was like, wow, Matt is really off his fucking rocker sometimes.
What did I say this time?
Oh, how to make your erotic thoughts decrease, you should picture women as dead chickens or meat.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Actually.
Oh shit! Because I
That's
was
why
like,
you guys
dead
should have done the
chickens.
due diligence. I listened to almost the first 15 episodes this week. I
Well,
was
thank
just like,
God.
what is Matt saying? I was just like, I'm just going to shut up and let Brendan question him because I'm scared of Matt now because he's like serial killer talk.
That's right. That's why we ended it with the term fear as the final word of the synopsis.
Yeah, I think so. I was afeared.
Yeah,
I'm
dead
just trying to
chickens.
figure
Now
out-
I remember. I totally forgot that was a thing.
Chicken and thongs.
I don't know where flying
They're
nipples
just-
came from.
They're just. I don't know about flying nipples, but they're just dead chickens, Brendan. I'm like, no, they're not dead chickens. I don't see them that way. No, they're dead chickens. Oh, okay.
All you need to
What's
know about
up with
flying
the
nipples
dead chickens?
Flying nipples look like pepperoni slices. That's all you need to remember.
Oh, I think that's what it was. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up, Greg, to remind me of my own personal insanities. Right.
Well, I have quite a few.
You know, I'm not going to say our third episode type of thing. I'm just going to read the synopsis because it always tells what the topic is. Oh, except for this one.
Sure.
All right, the three boobs visit the similarly named tube and compare to movies new and old. Controversial territory gets skirted around, and the new client gets short shrift while other interests take the foreground. Our false lawyers dip into political waters discussing cancel culture, orange fingers, Karens snatching protesters, Brendan's little thing, too much deer hunter, and when are pejoratives not pejoratives? Listen if you care, because we don't care if you eavesdrop. So, okay, there's some stuff to unpack there. I don't remember anything about too much deer hunter.
Oh, it was because
I kept
Yeah,
using
go
it
ahead,
as an example of like a quality film of the 70s, like back when movies were more serious, less toy based and superhero based. But for some reason I was too drunk to think of another good movie at the time. So I kept coming back to, like Deer Hunter. That's a good movie.
Yeah, he just kept coming back to Deer Hunter and coming back to Deer Hunter and coming back to Deer Hunter. We're like, okay, I got Deer Hunter was a good movie.
Was there another good movie in the 70s?
I like William Dafoe. What else you got?
Yeah, that was too much Deer Hunter.
Too much.
Okay, and Orange Fingers can only be like a Trump reference, is my
No,
theory.
we were talking about Cheeto
Cheetos.
dust.
Oh, okay.
Cheeto dust on finger.
Which I think his jism was described as. Wasn't there an episode where somebody came dust?
Yes, that was the episode
Oh,
where
Matt
was talking
because
about.
you call that cheese cum. You told us that you call that orange on your fingers cheese cum. So we were wondering about what your cum is like.
That's right.
Dust? Is it powdery?
That's right. And my little thing was I don't have television, so everything I watch is on the computer. And my little thing was I was trying to describe how I would move the little like scan thing, like move the movie back or forth, with the like play bar. And I said my little thing, and then Matt went on it. What little thing? And I'm like,
but then he did show his little thing because we're on YouTube now.
Yeah. So once this comes on YouTube, if you want to see my little thing.
Yes. So they're progressing. The old shows are progressing, going onto YouTube as we speak. The tricky part for me now is like figuring out how to connect the two-parters or the ones that got cut up because of advertising and making them one video. That takes apparently a long period of time to cause it to meld as one video. But
That's
I think the first 14 episodes are up on, well, no, actually the first 2 episodes, I don't know what I've done with the video footage. I'm going to have to track it down. But everything else up to episode 15 is currently on YouTube. And I want to have them all up prior to our next client.
I'd like to ask,
first
can we
guest.
take them all down?
Our first major celebrity guest, I mean.
Can we take them all down? I don't like it. I don't like seeing myself. I'm a weird guy. I'm a weird looking dude.
And that's why they're staying up, Greg.
Now, what I noticed is I blink too much. I blink like psychotically. I can't stop blinking all the time.
All
I
I
never
know
know.
is
I never
I-
noticed that, Greg, but I'm going to start noticing.
I'm not doing it now. I'm going to protect. I'm going to try not to.
Greg, we were talking about risk versus what. Thank you, Jesus Christ. I doubt that you'll lose your job at Burger.
I'm not worried
King.
about that. I'm just.
I might
self-conscious.
lose clients.
This is true.
That's a real thing.
That is a thing.
But
Have
maybe
you told them about this podcast?
Hell no.
why would that would be insane to let
Yeah,
his
that would be
clients
nuts.
know about it. No, we don't use our full names whenever we promote this, although apparently now you're associated with it because of the program that we did in Ohio, since they put our full names on that podcast. So that's searchable. But maybe they'll
That's
think you're
fine.
somebody else until they see the YouTube. It's hard. It's hard to find the YouTube channel. I tried. It's like you have to deliberately put in all of the words to actually find the YouTube channel. So I don't think it's going to be something someone just happens across because it's in the top feed on YouTube.
Does it take you to
Going
some
back-
like Quibble Squabble porn if you don't write it correctly?
Not
Some
on YouTube.
embarrassing.
They don't do
No,
porn
not
on
on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
But to go back to our client and my little thing is how much I actually give a shit about any of that, just so you know.
Right, exactly. But
Yeah.
maybe we can make a go of this podcast thing. Maybe people will start listening to it. I mean, we're gonna have people who have a little bit of influence. I actually alienated a potential guest yesterday.
Oh yeah.
What did
Yeah.
you do?
Well, what I did was I told him, I said, how our
That we're gonna
format
chicken?
is that if we have a guest on, we'll ask them whatever questions they want us to ask them, and then we ask if they join in our conversation. And one thing that would be helpful is if they have a subject they're passionate about that we can be a little bit irreverent with. And this particular guy is he's had a comedy career for like 30 years. You remember that that show Make Me Laugh back in the 70s? He was like on that show. So
Okay.
Right.
and he's like a playwright now, and he does serious stuff, right? And so this is what I realize is the question that needs to be asked for any guest who comes onto our show, is that they need to know that we're going to be slightly irreverent about something. Not that we'll deliberately try to insult them or their topic, but there's the
Right.
potential for it. Well, this guy was incredibly not interested in that at all. He goes, that sounds uncomfortable to me, and I don't want to go on some podcast where people are insulting me. I'm like, well, we're not going to insult you. He's like, well, if it's something I'm passionate about. So I think I need to rephrase that for people to get something that they're slightly passionate about, that they're willing to joke around with, and that's how. But because he was a comedian, I think one of the things he said was, I'm the one who's irreverent. And I'm thinking to myself, you're the one who should never be on our show, because if you're that full of yourself, you won't last long.
Yeah. That's like
I'm like, I don't care how big of a comedy career you have. This is for us, and so if you don't like it, fuck off.
I think it's funny that you're using the word irreverent to sell this. It's like, no, we're not irreverent. Lenny Bruce was irreverent. We're moronic. That's what you should tell them. We might be a little moronic about.
Yeah, but moronic isn't a good selling point, Greg.
I guess.
I love that he was like kind of doing it like a Breaking Bad, like, I'm the one who knocks.
And that's really how it came out. And the publicist had put this on as a conference call, and he was like stunned afterwards. He's like, I don't know why he was acting that way. I'm like, I said, because I had mentioned this as publicist before, I said, we have to make sure that they will be okay, because our style of conversation is we kind of make fun of things sometimes, and we don't want to offend somebody if this is something that's near and dear to their heart,
Right.
He's like, well, no, everybody's totally fine, like there used to be blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. I'm like, but I still got to ask the question, just to ensure that that's okay.
Yeah.
And the next phone call is this guy going, no,
I'm the one who's irreverent.
I kind of wish you lied to him and said, oh, okay, we'll back off, and I want this guy in the show now, and I want to like just fucking mock him and piss him off so he hangs
well,
up.
I don't want the publicist to lose the guy as a client. So anyway, the point being that, I think I want to maintain the way we do our thing, because we do it for us, really. And if anybody else wants to join in or listen to it and get some entertainment out of it, great. But I don't care how famous you are. I mean, we could get, I don't know, freaking Denzel Washington on, and he would be stuck to the same restrictions which is, we'll ask you little questions that you want us to ask you. We'll promote whatever you want to promote. But then, joining the conversation. And I thought I'd ask for something they'd be passionate about. So it would give us the client of the day,
Yeah.
basically. So I wouldn't have to think that hard.
So if
Yeah,
Barack
that makes
Obama's on
sense.
our show 1 week, by some grace of God, Barack Obama comes out, we're going to talk about like Matt's cheese dust cum. You'll be comfortable with that?
No,
Well, I personally wouldn't have a problem with that. No. If he's going to be on this show, yeah, it's their own damn fault for
I bet
coming
he'd
on.
go along with it. Like you saw him on Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis, blah blah. How you say his name?
Well,
He
Obama's
was
actually
so
a pretty funny guy. I think he could
He's
probably
hilarious.
handle
He's
this
a great
easily.
comedian.
I mean, come on, he was a president over white supremacists. He has to be able to deal with this stuff.
I just think
I just want to ask him about drone strikes.
Me too. But I think that he
So-
took the wrong calling in life. Barack Obama totally took the wrong path in life. He should have become a comedian. He would have been a great comedian.
Well, that reminded me of like when Trevor Noah was talking about the new administration. Biden comes in, he's got all this diversity in the cabinet position. He's like, yeah, he says there'll be somebody in Africa going, that is the most woke presidency that's ever bombed me.
Perfect.
I'm like, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're not expecting like great changes from this administration. All we're expecting is not Trump. That's really what we're expecting.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All I want is my $2,000. God damn it! And I'm about ready to drive to Kentucky and beat Mitch McConnell down like a bitch.
well, but he would hide in his shell if you did that. You could only just bleed on the the turtle shell that he lives in. All right, onward and upward. So this is when things are getting serious. This is July 30th. Our most serious client arrived today. Revolution in the air. The scatterbrained trio of the law offices, Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, think they can tackle today's current issues, yet fail miserably. Somehow they misuse Bob Dylan, give a poorly understood history lesson of America's wars, misunderstand simple political concepts, expect free pizza, and understandably find their way to Dungeons and Dragons. The best thing is they proffer no legal advice as they are not real lawyers, so only you listeners experience their malpractice. So that was during the time of the riots, and I think the death of the gentleman
That are still happening.
in Minnesota. And are they happening?
Yeah.
Is the rioting still happening? Where are they happening?
In Portland?
Where? In Portland?
Downtown. They happen downtown. Only downtown. It's localized.
When did that happen, Greg? I mean, I haven't heard about any recent ones. I haven't heard about people going down there.
I thought it was every night. Did it stop finally?
You thought it was every night. When was the last time somebody talked to you about it?
A month ago.
Okay, so
Okay,
yes.
for 6 months it went on. Sorry.
Right, then an election happened.
But I want to put this episode on trial. I was listening to it again, and I have to say I was so annoyed that the revolution is in the air. We pretty much spent 30 minutes talking about revolution was in the air 200 years ago. And it was like, I think we should talk about what's going on now instead of the War of 1812 and the Civil War. It seemed a little, we weren't very good to our client for a long time.
Well, it doesn't have to be something happening that at that moment. We can talk about things in the past.
So,
In the
wait
air.
a minute. To sum up, Greg, we let our white privilege show.
I think so.
Okay.
Okay, so then we would become an entirely different podcast.
Yes,
If
a
we were to do
serious, smart
But-
podcast.
But
yeah, which would not work.
no, I do want to say, Matt, because you and I bicker and squabble. Having reread a lot of these descriptions, they're really good, man. And this one was definitely good.
Oh, in terms of summing up the episode?
Yeah, I didn't
Oh.
understand. But here's the thing. My point is, I didn't understand what the episode was about. But if I read this, I might click. I might go, and then find their way to Dungeons and Dragons. Like,
Were there riots about Dungeons and Dragons?
That was a great ending point that I went, like some Malcolm Gladwell kind of shit where he's like, now we're interviewing a woman in Saigon who is blah, blah, blah. Who knew that she would change the world from the dishwasher? And you're like, what?
Who knew that she would invent the chia pet?
I don't know who
Right.
Malcolm Gladwell is.
You don't know who Malcolm Gladwell is?
I will
Oh.
say it again. I don't know who Malcolm Gladwell is. And though you say that with such surprise, I still don't know who
Wait,
he
you don't know
is.
who Malcolm Gladwell is? Because I don't either. That's interesting.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's
Sorry.
why we're friends.
I'm sorry. Malcolm Gladwell writes for the New Yorker. He's a New York Times bestselling author. He wrote Blink. He wrote The Tipping Point. He wrote a whole bunch of books. He's a great guy. He has a podcast. He has a podcast called Revisionist History, which I highly recommend. They're shorter. Like some podcasts are like 3 hours long. They're like 30, 40 minutes. And he takes some bit of history that you're kind of familiar with and shows you how you don't really understand what it means.
That's what we try to do, but then we just make up crazy theories. We just make up our own shit about.
I just kind of blinked at the tipping point.
Yeah. Well, I could get into that, but my point was for all of the listeners, all four of you, one of you who knows who Malcolm Gladwell is, that was a good description. That's all I have to say.
Gladwellian our episode.
It was Gladwellian.
Well, we've got about 30 minutes or so to get through the rest of these, so let's keep on going. All right,
we better go.
Moving on. This is Greg's favorite one, I think. Seeking a classier clientele, the faux lawyers unfortunately hitched their wagons to a client revered and ridiculed by many, zombies. On the road to figuring out what this is all about, many diversions are taken. Somehow the conversation enters the COVID-19 mask debate. Facebook is run by zombies. The taste and quality of brains with eggs. Can ghouls be zombies if they're ghouls? Zombie porn. And are tree cities better than prisons? So that was our 8th client, coming right on the heels of Revolution.
This was supposedly my favorite episode, but listening to it again, I was just like, guys, I just want you to geek out with me. And we started talking about COVID-19, and I was like, no, zombies. I just want to talk about pure zombie geek shit.
I think my problem is that I am a dilettante, and so I don't get more than just beneath the surface on lots of topics. And so if you start really pushing for me to give details about things, that makes me have to work, and I don't want to. So I'm not going to actually do the research necessary.
I think I was also annoyed by you still don't get the difference between a ghoul and a zombie. It seems.
Well, they're different. They're not the same.
Yeah,
thing.
but you still seem to be equivocating them, and I was trying to explain to you they're different. They're different monsters. It's like saying a mummy is like a Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. They are different. You can't say that they're the same. That was my point, Greg. Was that they are different.
Oh, yeah. So you took my point and made it your own.
No, you were trying to say that the zombies in Night of the Living Dead were zombies and not ghouls, but they were ghouls, not zombies.
Just because George Romero called them that, it doesn't. They were zombies, though.
No, they were ghouls
because that's what they were called. I know, but they weren't ghouls.
Listen, you can either have a ham sandwich, you can have a cheese sandwich, you can have a ham and cheese sandwich, but they're not the same sandwich. They're all different sandwiches.
Okay, we already talked about this for an hour, so we don't have to rehash the whole thing.
Moving on to our 9th client.
Yes, 9th
vacation.
client.
Mummies.
Our smug, self-important narcissist, that was me, returns from a family vacation and commandeers her 9th client, vacation's friend or foe. Whilst preening, the conversation still goes its own way and envelops driving way too fast in Europe, orgasmic lifesavers, butterscotch, by the way, the beauty of Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons, and Glacier National Park, close encounters with polar bears and bison, and using lawnmowers to remove snakes. Strap in.
I got to say, this was, in a way, this is another favorite of mine, just because Brendan tells that amazing Outward Bound story where he risked his life just because he wanted some kind of enlightenment. But he could have died easily.
Oh, my trip to the yeah.
Yeah, that was a great story. I mean, that was like a
that
John
was the acid
Krakauer
wearing
stuff.
off. Yeah, no, that was fun. I don't remember the butterscotch thing. That's what I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember that came in either.
I don't remember that either.
But it's something about, I think maybe we were just talking about with wintergreen lifesavers, you could have the spark in your mouth when you chomped out on them. And then somehow someone got into something sexual. So I'm going to say Greg probably brought something like that up. something sexual involving
No.
lifesavers, and then we have
I
to
would never
decide
do
which lifesaver would be the one that would actually cause that to happen. Maybe that's my theory right now, based
I
upon a
thought that
lack
was
of
the
memory.
dieting one. I thought we talked about lifesavers on the dieting episode.
No, that's
I
the
don't know.
next
Put it-
episode. That's
I know.
our
I
10th
thought that's when
client.
we
yeah.
talked about wintergreen lifesavers. I'm saying.
I don't.
Moving on.
I'm not
Moving
sure.
on to number 10.
Moving on.
Number 10.
Enough
Thank you,
about lifesavers.
Brendan's keeping things
Fun.
moving. All right, the terrific trio match wits with a false family law case when they meet their 10th client, diets and their bastard children. Beginning as usual, taking the client seriously, the tenacious triumvirate devolve quickly into, I'm way too much into alliteration, devolve quickly into discussions involving manatee molestation, freaks in Florida, celebrity regurgitation, spirit animals, morbid obesity, and Michael Phelps. So that one definitely hit the gamut of things that had nothing to do with diets in terms of
We
what
talked about diets. We talked about your fast that you just started.
Yeah, we talked about the fast. We
We
Yeah.
talked about my fast.
I think
my
the celebrity
non-dieting.
regurgitation is probably part of the whole diet thing. That would be a bastard children part. The morbid obesity, I think. So
Yeah.
so I guess with these synopses, sometimes there's serious parts of them, and then there's not serious parts of them to get people.
Again, I want to give you the with the and Michael Phelps, which comes out of nowhere and makes no sense whatsoever. But if you're watching or listening or reading, you go, Michael Phelps? What the fuck does Michael Phelps have to do with manatee molestation? I mean, he's in the water, I guess. What?
I can't answer that question really. I think I
I
would
can't
have to.
either.
A lot of times I take these just moments that are in the podcast itself. Like it's a throwaway sentence or a throwaway thing that somebody said. And I went, oh, that at the very least needs to go into the synopsis so that somebody has to listen to it all to find it. It's like these are like little Easter eggs that I place in the synopsis.
And that's good. And
In the first two episodes,
It's
we
good if it
talked a lot
works.
about
I don't know if it
taking-
works. But
In the first two episodes, we talked about a lot about like if we had a Patreon, we could offer T-shirts with slogans as a incentive to contribute. And Matt was thinking, just take a random thing like things are important, or school buses are good at killing cobras. They could be T-shirt slogans. So I think he just strings them all together for synopses.
Synopsis.
All right, we're going to move along to our 11th client. Okay.
We got
The ersatz attorneys claw their way into another non-courtroom to take school subjects on trial. If you've ever wanted to completely eliminate certain school subjects, this is the episode for you. After an initial volley interrogating algebra and lauding civics, our intrepid trio diminish any hope for lucidity by adding life cycles to history classes, attempting to understand Space Force, eliminating art, introducing the concept of lingerie roller doobie.
Doobie.
Lingerie
Yeah.
roller derby.
That's
I'm way more into
lingerie
lingerie roller doobies.
Secular humanist bowling leagues and the advent of futurology. The waters are shallow here. Stick a toe in. Okay, so
I think that we were very Gladwellian on that episode. That was we were talking about some heavy, serious shit in that one.
well, yeah, we did to an extent. I mean, I don't know about lingerie roller derby being heavy, serious shit or secular humanist
It is to
bowling
me.
leagues. Is it really, Greg?
Yeah,
It's so very serious.
I think about it every day.
But it was like school subjects are on trial. So I think was that our second on trial episode?
I think so.
I think it might have been. Yeah. And that brings us into brought us into September. So I'll just keep moving on, right?
Yes.
So next
We got to.
client is our 12th one, marriage and glue sniffing. So heading into divorce court, our unqualified non-lawyers combine the unlikeliest of couples, marriage and glue sniffing. As per usual, shortly after pretending to be interested in the client, the bombastic, belittling, boorish, bogus barristers feed on their I really got to stop the alliteration. Feed on their
keep going. I
egos
love
and
it.
discuss the coffee nap, Tesla's haircut, the rusty testicle, and Paula, their only fan. We only guarantee one laugh per episode. Any extras will be charged double.
So
So
this is before Maria was our fan.
What
We
happened
looked
to
at Paula
Paula?
at one point.
Paula still listens. Paula's
I'm
still.
saying, but at that point, we just said Paula was our only fan, but Maria was listening.
I think it's because that was before Maria ever said that to us.
I think so. Yeah.
Paula brought that up, so we talked
Yeah.
about that. Is what I think happened.
Well, this was
So
I
should
felt
we-
like the odd man out because I was never married, but it was fascinating listening to you guys tell me your experiences about being married.
Well, if you'd ever done glue sniffing, you wouldn't have been the odd man out.
I've never sniffed glue. I never glue sniffed.
You
In
know?
my life.
I glue sniffed once, and it just gave me a massive headache, and it was fun.
Yeah, here it's a shitty high. It's a very
It's
bad
a
high.
real shitty high. It lasts about, I don't know, maybe, if I remember from middle school, a minute or two, and then you just have a massive headache and want to take a nap.
I never did that. I just it didn't seem something fun to me. I didn't like the smell of glue, so it didn't make sense
No.
to sniff it.
Why would you?
Yeah.
That would be an intelligent decision.
And it's kind of
But I
like
think
what
that
some
was-
people experience in marriage too. Is like they have that feeling after they've been married for a while.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
didn't
also
like
the
this.
first episode.
I
when we
didn't
did
like the smell of it at the first. I just didn't like the smell of it, and then it was like 5 minutes. It was cool, and then a headache, and I need to take a nap.
This is a milestone because it's the first episode where we took a serious topic and added something inane to it, which we constantly keep doing.
You talking about in the
Marriage
title?
and glue sniffing. Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
in the title. Okay.
Oh, the title. I was going to say that's every show.
No,
yeah, but the
title-
titles weren't always. Well, I mean, they were slightly irreverent, but
It's not like
some
we
of
said
them.
ethnic foods and I don't know boofing. It was just
No, because we had diets and their bastard children earlier, and we had
but that makes
vacations,
sense in a
friend
way.
or
Diets
foe. I
have
mean,
a lot of bastard children.
but who considers a vacation to be a foe? Really, it's a vacation.
I've had many bad vacations that were faux-ish.
I'm just saying that
faux pas.
mostly people have fondness for the term vacation.
Yes.
So yeah.
Like the Go-Go
So anyway,
song.
I'm just going to disagree with your statement about the last one. Anyway, moving on to our 13th client. We don't need no stinking age limits. And clients seem to be knocking down the doors of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. We don't need no stinking age limits has plopped down a retainer for the full Unreal Firm treatment. Areas of discussion include the warlocks of Tinder, the king of Transylvania, QAnon's magic bar of soap, if a gamer were president, shooting elderly from cannons, sheep driving, when assassins marry teenagers, and Arnold on heroin. Okay, so we've lost Greg. All we see is either his ceiling or his wall, a cloud of smoke. That's what we saw. This
It's a
cloud of
dragon.
smoke popped up.
I'm a
It's
dragon.
like you're a magician. It's like there was the cloud of smoke, and then suddenly there
I
was
just
Greg.
figured
Not that this has anything to do with our 13th client or whatever we were talking about,
Yes.
but I quit smoking 5 days ago. And so watching Greg just fucking suck back cigarettes 5 days into quitting is driving me batshit.
I'm sorry. Why don't you? Can you like mute me or put a sticker over my portion of your computer screen?
I'd love to, but
I'm just gonna white out your face.
Put a post-it. Just put a post-it over me.
It's
post-it.
fine. It had to be said because
I get it.
every time you pull it up and you're like taking a big drag. I mean, normally when we do the show, when I smoked, it was annoying enough, but now 5 days in, I want to fly to Portland and fucking kill you.
But
For a
Brendan,
second
if
there, I
it
thought he
helps,
said he was going to fly to Portland and to fuck you, but that
No.
changed.
Maybe I'll
Brendan, if
fuck
it
you
does
and then I'll
help,
kill you.
every puff is totally not pleasurable, and it's just a sick habit. It's not like I'm going, "Oh, this is awesome." It's
Nah,
just,
that doesn't. The monkey brain doesn't.
I
hear
know
that.
the monkey brain, I know, but it's still, believe me, it's not like
Anyway.
very pleasurable. It's not like I'm eating a beautiful steak right now, going, "Oh, this is so good." I'm just like, why do we keep doing this?
Well, this is obviously as interested we are in that last client, which is we don't need to stink in age limits. Because
Okay, wait. Can I just say though, this one had why I was very happy that we have our Fonzie here, because when he said that voting is like, not only should 16-year-olds be allowed to vote, but probably people over 70 shouldn't be allowed to vote. I've repeated this to like 20 friends, like, because they got no skin in the game. They're gonna die soon. They don't give a shit what happens to America. Or
Well,
you know what I mean?
apparently they do because they were our presidential choices.
Yeah,
no, that's what I'm
exactly.
saying. I'm saying the voters, though, it's like if you're gonna cut people from voting, cut them. They don't give a shit. All they care about is their social security checks and whatever.
So kill everybody after the age of 30. Let's just go full
I'm
Logan's
not
Run.
talking Logan's Run. I'm talking about if you have to say, can 16-year-olds vote or over 70s vote? I would say 16-year-olds deserve to vote more than people over 70.
Well,
And
why
that's
limit it
funny.
there? Why not go down to toddlers?
Because that's ridiculous.
Oh, that's just being ridiculous. Okay,
yeah, now
moving
you're
on.
just being
Oh,
quibbling.
fine. All right, so we're on to deep in the darkest jungles of Africa. You will not find the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, only here in the bowels of the internet. This week's client, Habits of Infernal Origin, strikes far too close to home to the infernal, soulless non-lawyers. All sorts of nastiness are discussed, including presidential profanity, golden nasal nuggets, toilet ponies, gleeking, public urination, sex at McDonald's, Zog and Gleek the Caveman Odd Couple, and the Catapult Chair. This long consultation with Client 14 required a second part, which will air next week.
I don't even remember what Infernal Origins means. What was the topic?
There were habits, bad habits.
Oh,
this was the habit episode.
Bad habits.
I just heard you say Infernal Origins. Sorry about that.
Habits of Infernal Origin. Not
Sorry.
oranges, but origins. I can't say it now.
Orange.
And in the second part, all sorts of thingies are discussed, including spin the donkey, lesbian whistling, ball stomping, ear scraping, shopping cart magic, and mother-in-law experiments. So that was
I
the
wish I had
second
more
part
time
of that
to review
client.
this week because I haven't heard these ones, and I'm just like, what? Spin the donkey? What the fuck were we talking about?
I'm trying to figure out lesbian whistling.
Oh, that was me. That was me. I know that one.
Oh,
Well, I think it's that lesbians are better at whistling or something.
Or they just like to whistle more, and men whistle, women don't, unless they're lesbians.
Right. It's like that's
It's
where
true.
that's
Look
where
up,
it didn't make
Google
sense.
It's a fact.
now I remember why I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's one to grow on.
I remember why I don't remember that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, all right. Moving on. Client 15. We're in October now. Your intrepid pseudo lawyers wrangle up a new client with friends like you who needs friends to attempt to pay the rent on their non-existent offices. A bromance is narrowly avoided while the very fake lawyers attempt to sound knowledgeable, but instead ignore their client's basic needs. Territory covered includes crack friends, butt pencils, ear sex, foil fences, when friends go bad, the baking housewives of New Jersey, Zeta males, and duck penises. Have a listen, but don't let your boss or your children hear it. That is with friends like you who needs friends.
And the bromance wasn't avoided. It's already going on, Matt.
Where?
Let's be honest. You and me.
What?
Yeah,
We're a
that-
bromance.
We don't like
That-
each other.
That was
Yeah,
just
you
the
act like that.
bromance.
Like, I'm not gonna go into details, but last night I found out that like Matt did the most romancy thing, coolest friend thing.
What was that?
He always pretends that he doesn't give a shit about me, and he acts like it. He acts like he actually hates me. But Matt's like the best friend I've had.
I act
probably
like I
in my life.
hate you.
You do. You belittle me and you besmirch my character. And yet, if I knew that I needed something, I knew you would be there in a second.
Oh yeah, how so?
Nah, I'll tell you later.
Well, no, we're doing the show. Throw it in there. Why not toss it into
This
the
is
mix?
like a personal thing. It's not that interesting.
This is all a personal thing. Have you not heard us yell at each other before?
Okay, this is maybe
All
maybe
right.
someone in AA would
We're
think this
we're
isn't that
really
friendly.
getting back to the bromance right now. What time is our interview?
Yeah, we gotta
It's
hurry.
at
Never mind.
5:30, but we're doing
Matt,
good.
tell me later, I told
We're
Next
at coming
episode.
up to 16, so we still only have about like 5 more to go.
Okay,
gotta
fine.
go.
And I guess we could do a full
Keep going.
wrap up after that. So our 16th client,
I'm
entertainment.
I'm just feeling a little awkward, and I think the two of you should have a personal moment, and I don't want to be a part of it.
Would you mute yourself, Brendan, and turn off your video?
Yeah,
for
it's
a
not
second?
really fair to
Sure.
bring that up, Greg, if you're not going to let Brenda know what we were talking about.
I'll tell him later. It's not. I don't think it's for the podcast.
Why? What makes you made him mute himself? It's
Okay,
still being
well,
recorded.
I was
This is all
joking.
going to
He's
still
really
go out on
muting himself?
YouTube.
I was
Yes.
joking. I was just joking. Okay, if you really want me to. So this is the story. And if you're in AA, you're probably going to think like, wow, he's a terrible friend. So somebody hacked my credit card. So I have no money, basically, even though I have a lot of money in the bank. I couldn't buy booze. I was out of booze. And I wanted to do karaoke. When I do karaoke with Matt does an online karaoke through Zoom. I like to drink when I do karaoke, and for the first time in years, I was just like, I can't get drunk and do karaoke. And Matt actually texted my friend and said, "Hey, I'll pay for it. Go drink some booze." Jen told me. I thought you were joking, Matt, when you said, "What's your address?" I was like, this is the kind of friend I got right here. He loves me. Admit it, Matt. You love me. You love me.
I thought about it later going, wait a second. I'm enabling him. I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not going to stop me. You know, I mean, yeah.
Brendan, I don't know why you've gone away. You could be part of this conversation. You're muted and your video is done.
Well, I was just making a joke, and he believed me. I was joking. I was saying, meet yourself.
But he's not responding now. He's gone radio silent. Maybe he's waiting for us to move on to the next client. All right, so we'll just move on to the next client, which is client number 6. There he is. I knew it would work. All right, talk about it again, Greg, before he goes away.
Brendan, I was just kidding. I didn't really want you to mute yourself. I was part of the gag.
He shut himself out. All right, 16th client, entertainment is bad for you. So today, your fearsome threesome dive right into their newest client. Entertainment is bad for you. How bad, you may ask? Pretty bad. A gamut of concepts are explored, so there's probably one for you. Things start off with mustache rides and move on to transvestite clowns, people puzzles, making fish hooks, a tent in the woods, spotted dick, penguin mermaids, generic sports teams, and denial as entertainment. So that is... that was entertainment is bad for you. And I think we're right that it was bad for us.
What was denial for entertainment? I forgot that. That sounds intriguing.
I think that it had to do with me like denying things, and that it was an entertaining thing that I would be in denial about stuff.
Okay.
Whatever that might have been.
Is that the one where Matt, you and I had the big blow up about reality TV?
Did we have one about reality TV? I don't know.
Yeah, I went on a whole tangent about how fucking horrible reality TV was, and it was mental abuse to people who are obviously fucking got problems. Wasn't that the episode?
Maybe, because I think it was like me retaliating by talking about how sports are useless or something.
I think we went,
Yes.
yeah. I think we went back and forth on sports, and you're like, sports is stupid. I'm like, you know what's stupid? Here's what's stupid. Yeah, that's what I remember of that episode.
That was the first time you guys triggered me. The first time it got heated. I was triggered.
I really want to trigger you more often, actually.
It reminded me of my parents fighting.
Don't fight, parents. Don't fight in front of me. I don't like it. I can't handle it. That's why I work at Burgerville, Burger City, Burger Town, Burger Hamlet.
All right, Matt. Now you're being an asshole. Just pointing out.
What? Impossible. All right, so we move on to the 17th client, where we had actually our first, if we don't count Brendan as a guest, our very first guest.
He's not a guest.
Well, the very first episode, he was a guest.
He was pretty much a partner.
Then he came on. Then we just basically enveloped him in our manliness and caused him to be part of the program in that regard.
We were grooming him.
Or as my wife would say, you stupid Irish fuck, you just continue to do shit that doesn't make any sense.
Does your wife actually say that to you?
In a Minnesota variant.
I can't imagine her calling you a stupid Irish fuck.
She has.
She has.
You dumb Mick.
Oh, now you're being an asshole, Greg. Anyway.
No, I'm being the whole ass, Matt.
Anyway. Moving along.
All right, so it's our 17th client where Belinda Carroll came on, and she was a great guest.
Oh, she was cool. I like.
And
her.
This is the synopsis is: Holy moly, Bat Squid! Again, don't know where that came from. The law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker have brought in guest counsel to depose their newest client, Irish Halloween Turnip. Really, still my favorite title of an episode. Portland, Oregon-based comedian and founder of the Portland Queer Comedy Festival, Belinda Carroll, provides a welcome respite from the normal yammering of our fake lawyers. The discussion ranges in many areas from Stingy Jack, Abortion Man, Tarantino Scat and Porn Extras to Sexy Frankenstein, Sacred Potatoes, Octopus on a Stick, COVID test fetishes, and gerbil piping. Wow, that was a fun-filled episode right there, wasn't it?
Yeah, she brought up a lot of foul topics. I remember she didn't want to stop talking about gerbil piping and perversion. She was one sick twist. That one.
I don't know that she was that sick. I think she was more just realizing your sense of humor and went along with
I'm
it.
kidding. I brought it up. I was joking.
Okay, good, because other people might not know that, so we don't want to say
No,
bad things about it.
she was great. It was so, and she's really funny and does a lot of cool shit. And it was amazing that we got her as our first guest.
I'm just happy that Brendan took this episode and made it real by creating his own Halloween turnips for Halloween.
Yes,
I did.
that was amazing.
But just so you know, turnips apparently, if you go to the store, are really fucking small. So what you thought probably was a turnip was actually a rutabaga, because rutabagas are more about
Bigger.
they're more like a grapefruit size, whereas the rutabagas were like tangerines.
I think in the UK, turnips are much bigger than they are here for whatever reason. Because if you've ever seen any Blackadder episodes, they had like one episode where they talk about turnips, and they had like these large, differently shaped turnips. One specifically that was shaped like a penis, and that was like what part of that episode was talking about all the time, is that particular turnip for that particular episode of Blackadder. Anyway, so I'm just glad it became real life, that something we did on the podcast got translated to a human endeavor. All right, on to our 18th client.
And my kids loved it. We had a good time, and
it looks like it would have been fun. All right, so 18th client. So where is the urban legends, cryptids, and Yo Mama? Has the abominable snowman festered in your dreams? Has the chupacabra sucked your goat? Well, have no fear, as your incredibly brave non-legal team face monsters of your childhood with client number 18, especially Yo Mama. This particular rabbit hole finds an unholy menagerie, including the choking Doberman, Dogfinger, Cow Dreams, Bigfoots from outer space, the Jersey Goat, Gumbaroo, Bat Squatch, the albino kangaroo, and the stupid hole. Moisten your fingertips, place them in your friend's ears, and have a listen. That is our 18th client. So, Greg, you're muted once again. And so whatever you're trying to say can't... Yes, I'm serious.
Oh,
did you have lots of interesting things to say that we didn't get to hear?
Sorry, they're not interesting. It's probably for the best that I'm muted. But I was going to say this is another example. What the fuck does Yo Mama have to do with cryptids? It's like, we started doing that at some point. We always had to throw in some like curveball. Cryptids are pretty fucking interesting. We don't need to have a curveball of Yo Mama jokes.
So many different other people do podcasts about cryptids, and that's the thing. So we have to put the law
Yo
offices
Mama
of
jokes.
Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker twist to those particular topics. So it's not just the same as every other person talking about freaking.
But I'm saying it did happen at a certain point where a title started to have a non sequitur in it. That's what I was saying.
Well, yeah, that is definitely the most non sequitur.
Egregious.
It's not egregious. There was a point. There's a point to it. I got to tell Yo Mama jokes in that episode at length, so that's what made it work.
That's all you really wanted. You just wanted a Yo Mama joke episode where you get to tell
all I know.
Your favorite
All
Yo
I
Mama
know
joke.
is that if there are any YouTube videos that probably shouldn't be aired, the one where I talk about fucking a chupacabra is one of them.
If only we had like visual aids for it, that would have been great.
That could haunt me for the remaining 10, 15 years of my sad life.
Oh, so, yes. Anyway. All the people who believe in the chupacabras.
They're out there.
On to the 19th client. Ballots, bullets, and burgers, the damn election. Okay, so this is where we're coming closer to the present. The law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker obtain their most contentious client yet, ballots, bullets, and burgers. The client raises the blood pressure of each of the pseudo-lawyers as the current U.S. presidential election process is discussed. However, this does not deter them from extra special territories as they converse about aisle football, really bad sandwiches, the douchiest of bags, anal squeaking, Mad Max, the Boobishery system, metaphysical plates, Bat Boy, sweet mushrooms, and a clockwork Antifa. That is, I remember Bubishery. That was Greg trying to pronounce the word judiciary.
I figured it would be.
Oh.
I knew it was a jab on me.
Well, it was something that you said during the episode, so that's
I
why
know.
it had to
I
be
slur a lot. I'm
had to
drunk.
be
Sorry.
highlighted. I am curious about the anal squeaking, and the fact is this is supposed to be an election episode, and this is the things that we still wind up talking about. Nothing to do with.
I love the name of that episode.
That was
I
Greg's
really do.
entire creation. Was that one?
I know, and I wanted to really acknowledge Greg in that was a really good one. And I can't think of what it's reminding me of, because it's reminding me of something like historical, like ballots, burger. No, but like
Ballots or bullets or something. I think it's
something
a revolutionary concept.
There
Ballots or
is
bullets.
there's something there that anyway, but I don't remember any of this.
I don't either. And
Any of it.
I don't,
So
yeah, I don't
it
either.
was that bad of an election process that it all went over our heads, just gone. Everything's deleted.
I
It's not
just
the election process, is how
all
we
of your
talk about it.
references, like most of the time when we were going through these, I'd go, oh yeah, I remember that. I don't remember all of them, but I remember that, or I remember that.
Yeah.
This, I remember fucking nothing.
Yeah, how did the anal squeaking come into the picture?
I
can't
don't
imagine.
know.
You can only
I have
imagine.
no
How did the
idea.
election lead to anal squeaking? It's like
What does that even
17,000
mean?
points of separation.
My anus is squeaking because why?
Because why?
Why is my I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this episode after we're done.
Ah,
This is like back when I was a kid and I would just have blackout like fugue moments, and I would wake up in somebody else's house and go, I started here drinking and now I'm in Puyallup. And I don't know how I got there.
Called a blackout.
all right, we got to keep moving. On to the 20th client, a steaming pile of democracy. The votes have been counted and the votes have been ignored by President Trump, and he continues to ignore them. This means the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker have entered the arena to make sure their 20th client, a steaming pile of democracy, is maintained in a pure form. In the middle of the controversy and intrigue, many players are unearthed. These include Darth Brooks, Reagan in a towel, 2 presidents, 1 cup, congressional cage matches, Tinder for dogs, Frosty the Snow Representative, Fetus Christ, the new Grover Cleveland, and Al Gore as QAnon. Don't forget to vote 3 times. So that is.
I can't believe more people don't listen to us, because if I read that, I would want to listen to that.
Well, people would have to read it, so that's the other trick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Getting
Sometimes
in
I
front
check
of
out
people.
podcasts and I read about them and I say, But yeah, I remember the Reagan in the towel thing because I was feeling randy that night and having sexual fantasies about
I don't
Ronald
remember the
and
Reagan in the
Nancy.
towel part.
and Kamala Harris. And
that was the whole, like, when Carter called to basically concede. Reagan was like, fucking. I was showering, and then we talked about, okay, he was showering, and also Nancy was in the bath. So what part of the story
Right.
are we missing?
Now
and
I
I
He
got
had a
turned
towel.
on.
Right, and then he got turned on, and then we had
By
a
the
whole
image.
presidential porn thing.
Aha. All right. Well, there it went. And I just remember the Fetus Christ thing. And I found out there's an actual band that is named Fetus Christ.
I was
What?
listening to Fetus Christ right before I jumped on the show. They're
Is that Fetus on the Wheel, the same band? He always
No,
changed his name.
Fetus Christ is a I think they're English, kind of like
I don't like that. I don't like the dog.
Like death
I
metal level.
don't know. It was pretty good. I was jamming to it.
All right, on to our 21st client, which was our third litigation. Sitcoms on trial. The terrible triumvirate heads back to court to bring situation comedies before a judge and jury that don't exist. Yes, sitcoms are on trial are their newest client. The following exhibits get explored. Fonzie the Lothario, COVID School, Neil Patrick Harris, White Anglo-Saxon Jews, Otis the Lovable Drunk, Uma, Big Black Eyeballs, CGI Babies, A Bad Case of Sunspots, Lynchapalooza, and Batface. If you want the show's quality to get better, show you care and interact. All right, so that
What's
is.
Uma?
I
forgot
don't. You know,
Uma.
I at the time it was something funny to us because we kept saying Uma, and I don't know why we repeated it a number of times in that episode, but I don't remember at all
That's like our
anymore.
catchphrase, like a sitcom has a catchphrase, like "Hey, Uma."
It might have been. I'm wondering about the big black eyeballs part of this as well. And Lynchapalooza does not sound fun for anyone.
This again, like that other episode, I'm
You know what's weird is you guys
I have
aren't
no
drunk.
idea.
You guys aren't drunk when we do these podcasts. I am, so I have an excuse, but you don't. This was 3 weeks ago.
Matt,
This was 2 weeks ago.
Greg,
It's a month ago.
this is not
month ago.
totally true.
Well, you're a little buzzed, I guess. You're drinking your beers.
Yeah,
Beers.
I'm not polluted, but
I
the
am.
fact that I don't remember a goddamn thing about this makes me think I must have got started early that day.
Well, Matt doesn't either. Matt doesn't either, and he's
I
sober.
blame it on the mini strokes. I blame everything, all lack of
Okay.
memory on that. That and the fact that I just forget things.
Yeah.
Over time.
yeah. Yeah,
You know, I
me
put these
too.
things in the synopses to help me remember stuff, and then I'll see them and I'll go, yeah, I don't remember. But again, there are these throwaway things often. There are these little Easter eggs that happen during the course of the conversation that we might not have given a lot of time to, but they're in there, and I want people to find them if they find a reason to want to do that. All right, on to the next 22nd client. Heroes are super and delicious. And as the turkey arrives on your plate, so this is a Thanksgiving episode, and the cranberry sauce crawls off, that's a visual. The law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker bring you a special Thanksgiving Day special episode. Why did I say special twice? That has absolutely nothing to do with Thanksgiving. The new client, Heroes Are Super and Delicious, makes many demands of your favorite fake lawyers by suggesting they have superpowers of their own. In the midst of it, they also mention crunchy diamonds, rocket poop, Pedix Man, Galactus intolerance, Captain Super Amazing, Captain Barrio Gomez, Captain Australia, Marvel Bitch, Dingo Balls, Man Boobs, and Man Butts. Go ahead and pour some gravy over it. So that
I remember
was
a lot of that one.
that was our 22nd client. That's because it's got
Super
something to
Barrio
do-
Gomez. I still love that guy. I'm so glad you discovered him on the internet.
Fucking, we need t-shirts. This is like where our merch comes in. We need some Super Mario Gomez fucking
Barrio.
t-shirts.
Barrio or Mario.
Barrio.
I thought it was
Sorry.
Super Barrio, right?
Yeah, Barrio. I said that wrong. That was
But I
on
think
me.
combining it with Mario would have been good too.
Barrio
Super
Mario.
That's right.
He can jump up every now and then and go bling.
It'd be an actual Hispanic plumber, which would be more accurate, I think, for those who are Hispanic and who are plumbers. But anyway, all right. So I just got an email from the guy who's interviewing us from Albino Rhino. He's going to be sending me a link, but he's having a smoke himself right now. So I'll be
God
getting that
damn
shortly.
it!
We gotta hurry. Go.
So that was the 22nd client.
Lightning
Next,
round.
Fuck all these people smoking. Jesus Christ.
23rd client, aging is fun. We don't have the link yet, so we're still good. Our 23rd client, we made it to December, though, so we're in this month. Aging is fun, but hard on the knees. The law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker have over 150 years of non-experience practicing non-law and have roped in the perfect client for their 23rd Aging is Fun, Hard on the Knees. The normal issues are discussed, specifically old man medical issues, but then, as usual, the client is neglected as they talk about gravity punishing them, wheat germ and honeysuckle, twitching frickin' maniac, the GUH in Google, flipper babies, Florida and its unique stupid, never drive on acid, and what the hell happened. So that is, I remember the wheat germ and honeysuckle thing. I think Greg was using that as like a health food or something. And
Oh yeah, off the top of my head.
flipper babies, I'm not sure, but I remember you being the GUH in Google because you were talking about how back before Google, your friends you thought were actually
Yes.
Google, and we said no, there's no possible way that you could be Google, but you could be the GUH in Google.
Yeah,
I
I
remember
knew
that
some
part.
facts.
I remember our
Facts.
conversation about not driving on acid.
Yes,
Because
I
Matt-
remember it because I
Matt-
remember remember doing it.
Oh, that was shocking. Actually, that was
But-
one time because Matt's a pretty level-headed guy. He's like this, the guy that like, oh yeah, he's not that crazy. But I was like, what?
Yeah.
None of my friends who were acid heads ever tried to drive on acid. They did acid every day, and they never would have been like, I'm going to try to drive on this shit.
Well, it had been 8 hours after I had dropped it, so I thought I was safe.
You're still flying high.
Because I felt pretty normal at that stage, but then my eyeballs told me differently. Anyway, on to our 24th
Whatever,
client.
Wavy Gravy.
Thank you, Gravy Wavy. Our 24th client is Killing Me Softly with Han Solo. So perhaps one of the most sought after of clients, Killing Me Softly with Han Solo has placed a large retainer for the services of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker in order to gain sympathetic movie rights. This episode has extra Squabble flavor for your dining pleasure. It includes Darth Joker, Jabba the Hutt as Bernie Sanders, space tattoos, the chick with the tubes, Adam Driver's nose, celebrity gag balls, the Carrot People family, Super Jedi, camels and caves, Nurse Jackie, Chewbacca's father, and our very first listener email. Thanks, Maria. So I think that's when we first started saying thanks, Maria, to end the show.
Yes.
And she has proven the reason why. But I guess we've given short shrift to Paula because she's listened this whole time, too.
Yeah, but she never sent us an email, did she?
No, she didn't send us an email. She didn't send us a mug either. But she is supportive, though.
I got my
mug.
Let's
show this. We're on YouTube.
Oh, you did, Brendan. When did you get it?
I got it. What is today? I think I got it Monday.
Okay, cool. I guess should we all show our mugs or something? Is that what's going on here?
I don't have my mug.
And he promised that every episode he would be drinking out of the mug, Greg, to Maria.
I didn't promise.
No. Brendan promised it.
Oh, I did, and I will. I will do that next episode. I promise.
That's why I don't make promises.
Brendan, you have to pour your beer into the mug.
I will, Maria. I will definitely do that. Wait! Hold up!
You do have it.
All right, should we show them all at the same time? Should we all show our mugs at once? All right, thanks, Maria. Even though it's not the end of the episode.
Thanks, Maria.
Not our official logo, but it works. Anyway.
Paula, you can make us a T-shirt with our logo on it.
Well, Paula is actually also a professional clown, in case you didn't know. So she'll do like children's parties and stuff like that. Back when there were still children's parties, way back.
Wow.
A year ago. All right, so onward and upward, because obviously I'll be getting a link pretty soon to our interview. I will go on to our next client. So we've only got 2 more before we're done. This will be a 25th client, social media distancing. And this is the one that Brendan brought in. It seems like only yesterday when a cute little virus showed up and shut down the world. Now, 8 months later, the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker have snared the perfect client to social media distancing to bring some meaning to it all. You'll find out about discount genies, Urkel and vampires, the chosen one, the Xerox of elevators, poop balloons, left-wing militias, breast dust, and Zuckerberg's complexion. It's okay to pass this information down to future generations.
So breast dust and cheese cum dust. We've run the gamut
of dust fluids,
of bodily fluid excretions
that are like powderized.
Yes,
it's like what else could be put into powder form?
Snot dust.
That would be so wonderful.
I guess that's a booger.
Perhaps I guess you could look at it that way. Yeah. But it's dust, so it's like after you've played with it a while, Greg. All right, so we're going to take us to our final episode prior to this one for the year of 2020. And that is episode, our 26th client, Happy Christmas Kwanzaa Khan. And I'm really happy with the artwork I found for this. I was going to use like Shatner and Nimoy in holiday sweaters, but instead I found a wreath made out of Khan's head. So it's like a lot of little Khans all in a wreath form with a red bow at the bottom.
You found that?
I did.
That's real?
Found that on the internet. Yeah. So
that's crazy.
We used that for the artwork. So as the virulent year 2020 draws to a close, the anti-lawyers obfuscate their way into a quasi-holiday program with their newest client, Happy Christmas Kwanzaa Khan, leaving many opportunities untouched. Listen as they bypass normal conversation and talk about Festivus, decorating Jeb Bush, loaves and witches, roasting Ewoks, Hanukkah in a vial, Klingons and sex clubs, dancing for squids, the kings of stupid, proud duck rapists, and answer your cat's questions day. And so that is the full wrap up of every episode of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker for the year 2020, which is
Yeah.
started. I don't know. Greg, you were against doing this particular episode.
I still am.
And I've found this actually a lot of fun and kind of nostalgic too.
I think
because,
for us.
Well, yes, of course it's for us, Greg. Who else is this podcast for?
I know. It just seemed a little too navel gazing, masturbatory, if you will.
Greg, again, that's all we do.
Wait, well, I had somebody else talk to me for a second about turning on a blender. Did you just say all we do is masturbate?
In this podcast, it's navel gazing and masturbatory.
This particular one.
This particular episode,
This
because
was
we're going
more
over
so
all
than
of the
normal.
episodes.
Oh,
More
this
so than normal.
episode is masturbatory.
Because
Yes.
we're looking back on all of these. But I look at it as more nostalgic than that. And
It was nostalgic. It was.
And the fact is, Greg, you have to look at this from a marketing point of view too, right? So the point is
Marketing?
that people
What's that?
may not. Okay, well, it has to do with when you're taking something to a marketplace to sell it. So if we're trying to sell this podcast and make it somewhat real, so that you can get a pizza one of these days, the idea is you want to get as many people as possible to listen to various different episodes and get engaged in it, right? So this is. By recapping all of the different episodes, people may have gone throughout the course of it, because this is about the normal length of time we take to run an episode. They may go, oh, you know what? That one about the extra squabble flavor. I want to look that one up. I'll check that out. And they might not have known to do that if we hadn't mentioned it. So there's a purpose to this. There's a method to this madness, Greg. Regardless of how you feel about it, the point to it is, again, getting you a pizza, even though we haven't talked about that in months. So I haven't got the link yet. So I think really quick, since we have not done this for months, I should just go and see the analytics and just see where we have actually gone.
That would be nostalgic.
Yes.
So actually, we have made $11.10.
I can get a pizza.
Oh my God.
Since we started this back in June.
$11? Are you fucking kidding me?
$11.10. We have made
The
it.
last time you told us, Matt, where were we at? I can't even remember.
I don't remember. It's been a number of months.
It was like $6. It was like
$6
$6 or $7.
And just to get into the other analytics, the people who listen to us, 92% for the United States. We still have a 5% French listenership, and then less than 1% of Ireland, Canada, India, Ukraine, Nigeria, United Kingdom, Germany, Philippines, Bangladesh, Singapore, and Brazil. Our demographics are, we have 82% in the 42 to 59-year-old age range, 82%, 5% 35 to 44, but 1% is 23 to 27, and 5% is over the age of 60. Hello there, over the age of 60. Our listenership, 76% female.
What?
70? Yes, it went up like 10% female. We have like more female listeners now than we had before.
So I haven't offended them enough that they left.
And 18%. I think we provide a glimpse into middle-aged men's idiocy in terms of what we talk about amongst ourselves.
So they know what to be warned about from men. They're
right.
Like,
you know, but if you were in that age group, ladies, who are between 45 and 59 or 35 and 44, or any of those age groups, send us a message, send us an email, tweet us on Twitter. One of these days, I'm going to be setting things up for TikTok and Instagram. So we're going to start being on those particular avenues as well to learn more. And so that'll be a possibility. But don't forget to go to our website, www.qsblaw.org. Email us at qsblawoffices@gmail.com or tweet us at qsblaw on Twitter. And that being the case, this has been our year-end 2020 episode of the Law Office's Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. In the new year, every episode is going to go onto YouTube after we record it. We're going to have guests for the first 2 months at the very least. Our very first major guest for the year is Larry Hankin, who is been on Home Alone. He was in Escape from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood. He was
Seinfeld?
He was in Seinfeld. He was in Breaking Bad. So this is going to be a really fun interview. And he actually wants to have a conversation with us too. He's actually been really cool when we've been talking to him. So on that note, I'm going to say thanks, Maria.
Thanks, Maria.
Maria.
And thanks. What was the other girl?
Paula.
Paula. And thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Paula. This has been the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker Computer Telecast, where any advice has been designed purely for amusement and deep-sea diving. Please take a candy on your way out, pet the lion tamer, and subscribe to this computer telecast if you know it's good for you. The law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker deny all culpability in today's events and are not to be confused with real law offices that have a secretary and books and stuff. Thank you all. Have a good day.